Hey there, what's going on? Today we're taking a look at the Elysia Envelope Mastering Edition. I'm super excited for this one because this unit is extremely special and brings us some amazing results. So let's dive in. So before we are taking a closer look into the Elysia Envelope Mastering Edition, let's do a little backstory on the company. You probably already know the company. They are very well known for their amazing build quality and really good sounding gear. Some units that they are making that are really famous are the Alpha compressor, the Music, the Expressor, the recently released Expressor Neo, the X filter, the Envelope, and now the Envelope Mastering Edition. They did this earlier with the X filter, so you have the X filter and the X filter mastering, and now we have the Envelope and the Envelope mastering. So a couple months back I got to visit the Elysia factory in Nettetal in Germany. It was super interesting and I was really blown away by the level of detail that they put into producing these units for us, for producers, for mixing engineers, for mastering engineers, for recording engineers. They are really delivering outstanding quality gear, and this is something you pick up on the first second you are unboxing the gear. Everything feels extremely solid. The materials used feel extremely good, and looking at their manufacturing process in the factory gave me a lot of insight into why this is. For example, their knobs are made from a really good material and they make them themselves in the factory. It's been done by machines that are being used as well in the car manufacturing industry, and at multiple steps in the manufacturing process they are using some of the absolute leading manufacturing machines on the market. It was really impressive and it shows in their product. So let's answer the question why using transient shaping in mastering is a good idea. Especially if you're working on percussive material like myself. I'm exclusively doing mastering for dance music. It's so effective to have control over the attack and sustain of your sound. It's really important to have control over the transients if you want to have a punchy and detailed and focused sounding track. If you're doing hip hop, for example, imagine the kicks and the snares really being super punchy. It lifts the track up to a next level. And in dance music, this is by far the best genre to use transient shaping on, because we have really clear kicks, claps, drums, and those need to sound super tight. And of course we have compression, but in my setup, and you will hear that later in the sound examples, the transient shaper is put behind the compressor. In my situation, I'm using it in mid-side, but more on that coming up. It's a next step after compression to control the transients. So what you can do with the compressor in parallel is tightening the entire signal, making it less dynamic and sound more punchy. Then after that, in the transient shaping process, you can emphasize the effect of the compressor. And what's amazing with the Elysia Envelope transient shaper, the mastering edition, is that it's so precise, so you can literally 0.2 decibels of more attack. That's something you can do with this unit. So it's not drastic. It can be a bit more drastic. It goes up to 5 decibels of reduction or emphasis, but you can utilize it in a very subtle way. This is why this unit is, in my beliefs, a must-have for every mastering engineer, because it allows you some really powerful control. So now let me do a quick overview of the functions on the unit. Alright, so here we have it, the Elysia Envelope. Envelope, right side, left side. Let me walk you through it. For me, the most important is the attack and the sustain and the frequency A. I love using it in full range stereo linked. That means that these 3 buttons are the only buttons that are active and doing anything in the unit. Attack, more or less emphasis on the attack. Frequency A means how the sidechain detection signal is filtered. So if it has more response on bass or less. Sustain, super simple, more or less emphasis. So if you want to tighten something up, you attenuate a little bit of sustain, you emphasize a little bit of the attack, and A, B, set it up correctly and just go with it. That's how easy a transient shaper works. So if you want, you can switch off full range and use the unit in dual band mode. A little different because now frequency A isn't doing the sidechain detection, it's filtering the actual frequency up till 8K that you are altering. So let's say that you don't want to control the attack of everything up till 8K, you can do that, or you can lower it and that way decide the starting frequency of the signal that you're altering with sustain, with attack, and here frequency S comes into play because this sets the final frequency for your alteration signal. So what it means is that you can be more specific on which band you are affecting with the attack and sustain. Then super simple, stereo link means that this side controls this side. Stereo link unlinked means that you have this unit in dual mono. This is really cool because here under my SPL Gemini feeds mid-side into the mastering edition of the envelope. So this is super cool. What I can do is simply only affect the mids, or I say I want to have an EQ on the sides. Now suddenly this is a shelving EQ. So I could, for example, do a bit of low attenuation and high boosting. Now this will alter my side signal tone, and on the left side I'm using transient shaping on the mids to make the drums and the kicks and the claps come through really powerfully. That's super cool. There's no unit on the market that can do that, and yeah, this is just one of the reasons why this unit is so powerful. Lastly, auto gain, which only works in full range mode and makes up for any peaks, so you will have a more stable peak level coming out of the unit. I like to know exactly what I'm changing, so auto gain isn't an option that I prefer, but you can use it if you want the unit to make up for sudden peak jumps. So that's what the Elysia Envelope Mastering Edition is capable of. It can be quite complex, but once you get a feel for it, it's a really easy to understand unit, and I'm expecting most users to, for example, not really utilize the EQ function because you have different EQs in your setup. This unit shines most as a transient shaper. That said though, it's really cool and generous of the team over at Elysia to have implemented an EQ as well. And what's super cool as well is that you can use it unlinked. You're in a situation like myself where I'm using the SPL Gemini to feed mid-side into the Elysia Envelope Mastering Edition. You can basically control the transients on the mids and use the sides as an EQ. This is really cool. So you can use shelving on the sides, and this all in this unit. It's really special and it's really flexible. So now let's listen to the unit. I'm going to give some different examples of what it can do, and you'll be able to know a bit more in depth why I'm doing what I'm doing by reading the text that will pop up on the screen. It's important to listen in a good environment. So if you can, make sure to grab some good headphones or listen to this in the studio and hear for yourself why transient shaping is a game changer in mastering. It's subtle, but as a mastering engineer, subtle and powerful is what you're after. You want to emphasize the material and bring it out in the best possible way. So let's listen right now. I mean, do I need to say anything more on that last example? The kick, the clap, the overall tightness of the track just really got to the next level so easily. And what you can tell as well is that even at 5 dBs, this unit doesn't sound blown out or doesn't sound over processed. It just makes it feel like it's a better mix. It's like a tighter mix. The compression is a really gluey effect, but this is just pure tightness. If you do EDM, if you do anything percussive, hip hop, rock, anything that needs to be super powerful and punchy, and you don't have this unit, then you're just missing out. It's a really, really powerful unit. It's on every master that I do, and it can be heavy, it can be subtle, it can do two things at the same time. I mean, that one example where I was transition shaping the mids and EQing the sides, that's so cool. And the EQ sounds wonderful as well. I was already a big fan of the normal envelope, which I've been using on tons of masters, but it always was a bit difficult to recall. So I mainly used it in a couple of setups that I figured out for myself work, and basically memorizing those presets, if you will. But right now I can use way more detailed settings. So it's easy to recall because it's stepped. It's very, very precise, super little steps. You won't really find yourself in a situation where you need to boost more than 2 dBs of transients. It's super cool if you can do it, but on most masters, it's already the way to go to just subtly implement a powerful push of emphasis on the transient response. If you have any questions on the unit, make sure to leave them in the comments because I'll be happy to answer them. For dance mastering, feel free to reach out with your project details and perhaps we'll be able to work together in the future. And of course, you can find the link to the Elysia website, which by the way is completely new. The new Elysia website is amazing, so you can easily find all information on all units of Elysia over at their website, listen to audio demos, stuff like that. Next to that, you'll be able to find your local dealer to order this unit. Pricing, of course, differs on where you are located. However, for Elysia products, the pricing is extremely sharp. It's really amazing how they are able to provide us with gear that works like a charm, brings out the absolute best in our music. Loved making this video for you. I'm a huge fan of transient shaping in mastering. I'm already doing lots of transient shaping in the box as well, with for example the Neutron transient shaper, which is multiband. But for mastering in the analog realm, there's nothing that comes even close to this unit. So I hope that you like this video and I'll see you in the next one. Yo!